With me now is William Pellerin, international trade lawyer with Macmillan LLP. William, thanks as always for joining us.
My pleasure.
What do you make of this latest escalation?
Yeah, it's really mixed emotions this morning, I think, for Canadian and global businesses. So on the one hand, the escalation actually doesn't really hurt or affect most businesses because ultimately they're not going to be paying that 35%. For most products that we ship to the United States, in fact, the tariff is going to be zero because our goods mostly are made in North America and therefore qualify for a reduced rate. On the other hand, though, I think what's a bit more problematic is the lack of relief for those companies that were really suffering. So there's really those two baskets of companies. And the companies that are really suffering are those that are paying separate tariffs on sector-specific industry tariffs. So here we're thinking about the steel industry, the aluminum industry, the auto industry, and the copper industry. So those are the ones this morning waking up that are looking at this lack of deal and thinking that it's actually quite unfortunate because they're still stuck at either 50% or 25%.
Now, I imagine a lot of people are looking at that U.S. Federal Court of Appeal and whether these tariffs are even legal. Where does that stand? When do you think we'll have an answer from them?
Yeah, we're certainly advising our clients that there's not too much. There's going to be quite a few months before that all gets through. It's at the federal court, the federal circuit now. That might go to the Supreme Court later. So I don't think anyone's planning on those tariffs going away anytime soon. It was really interesting to see the president's fact sheet that you put up on the screen earlier, which describes, the basis for these tariffs as being linked to the drug trade and to fentanyl, which is not what the president has said in his different press conferences, tying it to defense and tying it to farm-related tariffs and the like. But that's the rationale that he's advancing, that the U.S. administration is advancing in U.S. courts, that this is all tied to the drug trade. So it's clear that, at least officially, that's the story they're sticking to.
Now, and just one last question. If the court were to rule against it and say it was illegal what he was doing, what would happen with the tariffs that have been collected and the companies that have paid them?
So for the steel and aluminum tariffs and the auto tariffs, those would actually not be affected by this ruling, because what's being affected here is the fentanyl tariffs that apply, which is that baseline of 25% that's now gone up to 35%. So the vast majority of Canadian exporters that actually ship are not affected by this potential court ruling at all. On the other hand, that subset of Canadian companies that ship products that can't meet the made in North America, USMCA preference, those are the companies that would obtain some relief and then have to stop paying those high tariffs.
Okay, William, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.